The paradox of progress, why Black women entrepreneurs succeed despite the system, not because of it. Good morning, everyone. I'm deeply honored to stand before you today to share insights that have fundamentally changed how I view success, resilience, and the true meaning of progress in America. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Tiara McKenzie, a visionary leader whose work has transformed the landscape for Black women entrepreneurs across the nation. Tiara isn't just a business consultant, she's a revolutionary thinker who has helped thousands of women redefine success on their own terms while navigating systems that weren't built for them. Her courage to speak truth to power, combined with her unwavering faith in possibility, has created ripples of change that extend far beyond business into how we understand equity, innovation, and community power. Let me start with something that might shock you. Despite Black women being among the fastest growing groups of entrepreneurs in America, they still face disproportionately high unemployment rates and receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Let that sink in for a moment. Less than 2%. This statistic challenges a narrative many of us have accepted without question, that entrepreneurial growth automatically translates to equity and security. The reality, as Tiara so eloquently articulated, is far more complex and troubling. Systemic barriers persist even as more Black women launch businesses and innovate across industries. This is what I call the paradox of progress. Visible advancement in one area masking persistent inequities in others. It's the illusion of inclusion that allows us to celebrate surface level wins while the foundation remains fundamentally uneven. Between 2023 and 2025, we witnessed a disturbing pattern: rising unemployment among Black women professionals, even as overall employment remained relatively stable. This wasn't random economic fluctuation. Systemic racism led to higher job losses for Black women compared to other demographic groups. Many responded by turning toward entrepreneurship or side hustles for financial stability. As Tiara powerfully stated during our conversation, sometimes what looks like a closed door is actually an invitation to build your own house. This perspective, finding opportunity within oppression, reflects a resilience that has been necessary for survival, but it shouldn't be required for success. Consider Maya, a marketing executive with 15 years of experience who was laid off during a company restructuring that somehow disproportionately affected Black women in leadership. Rather than continuing to navigate systems that didn't value her contributions, Maya launched a digital marketing agency that now employs 12 people and serves clients internationally. Maya's story is simultaneously inspiring and infuriating. Her success doesn't negate the injustice that catalyzed it, and this pattern repeats itself across industries and generations. Female founders' startup activity rose from an average of 6.1% between 2001 and 2005 to 10.4% between 2021 and 2023, with many innovations led by Black women entrepreneurs. Despite this rapid growth, these founders received less than 2% of venture capital investment. How did they respond? By leveraging digital tools like e commerce platforms and social media, and by building diverse teams that fostered innovation. The outcome? Women led startups often outperformed male led startups on ROI metrics, yet continued advocacy is needed for equitable funding access. Tiara shared the story of Jasmine, who created a tech platform connecting Black women entrepreneurs with resources, mentorship, and capital. Despite initial investor rejection, Jasmine built her company through community support and strategic partnerships. Today, her platform has facilitated over $50 million in funding for Black women owned businesses and created a support network that spans 40 states. Jasmine didn't just build a business, she built infrastructure to address the very barriers she encountered. This pattern of creating solutions to systemic problems represents a form of innovation that's frequently overlooked in traditional business narratives. This brings me to another fascinating trend Tiara highlighted: Gen Z's shift toward entrepreneurship, which includes a surge among young Black women seeking flexibility and community impact instead of traditional career paths. These young entrepreneurs continue to face underrepresentation in high growth sectors like tech and difficulty accessing mentorship and funding compared with their peers. Their solutions: targeted programs offering mentorships, increased digital supports, and a focus on reinvesting business gains into families and communities at higher rates than their male counterparts. Tiara introduced me to Zora, a 24-year-old founder who created a sustainable fashion brand that employs formerly incarcerated women and provides skills training. When traditional retailers wouldn't carry her products, Zora built her own e commerce platform and community based marketing strategy. Within 3 years, her company reached seven-figure revenue while maintaining its social mission. What prompted this shift toward entrepreneurship among young Black women? Partly a lack of flexibility and support seen in prior generations' careers, but also a desire for direct community impact that shaped their entrepreneurial choices. Women's startup rate grew from 15.6% in 2017 to 17.8% in 2023, with a notable increase attributed largely to young, diverse founders. When we talk about Black women entrepreneurs, Tiara noted during our conversation, we're not just talking about business metrics. We're talking about community builders, innovators, and cultural architects who are reshaping what leadership looks like. This brings me to perhaps the most important insight from our interview: the power of redefining success itself. For generations, success has been measured primarily through financial metrics and individual achievement. But what Tiara and many Black women entrepreneurs are modeling is a more holistic vision, one that values community impact, work life harmony, and creating opportunities for others as essential components of true success. This isn't lowering the bar, it's recognizing that the traditional bar was measuring the wrong things. When we expand our definition of success to include well being, community uplift, and sustainable growth, we create space for more authentic and impactful leadership. We move from a scarcity mindset that pits people against each other to an abundance mindset that recognizes how lifting others ultimately lifts us all. As Tiara beautifully expressed, your success isn't diminished when you help someone else succeed. That's when your success becomes significant. This perspective is deeply rooted in faith and community values that have sustained Black women through generations of challenges. It's about recognizing that we aren't meant to journey alone, that our individual stories gain power when woven together into a collective narrative of resilience and possibility. The authentic tone that Tiara brings to her work, warm yet candid, deeply rooted in faith and resilience, offers a template for how we might all approach our professional journeys with more humanity and purpose. She speaks with vulnerability about pain experienced along the way, but always focuses on hopefulness about what's possible when we lean into our purpose together as a community, striving forward despite adversity. In a culture that often glorifies the self made individual, Black women entrepreneurs have long understood that true sustainability comes through community. Mentorship networks, faith communities, family support systems, these aren't just nice to haves, but essential infrastructures that make innovation possible. When facing barriers to traditional funding, many Black women entrepreneurs have turned to community based financing models. When excluded from industry networks, they've built their own. When their contributions have been overlooked, they've created platforms to celebrate each other's wins. This isn't just adaptation, it's innovation. And it offers a powerful model for how we might all approach challenges with creativity and collective wisdom. So, where do we go from here? How do we move beyond celebrating the resilience of Black women entrepreneurs to actually dismantling the barriers that make such extraordinary resilience necessary? It starts with acknowledging the paradox, recognizing that entrepreneurial success within a broken system doesn't mean the system isn't broken. It requires us to look beyond individual success stories to examine the structures that determine who gets opportunities and resources in the first place. For investors, it means examining biases in funding decisions and creating more equitable access to capital. For corporations, it means building truly inclusive workplaces where Black women can thrive rather than just survive. For policymakers, it means creating economic frameworks that don't perpetuate historical inequities. And for each of us, it means questioning our own definitions of success and leadership, recognizing that the most powerful innovations often come from those who've had to navigate the most complex barriers. I challenge you today. How will you use your position, your resources, your voice to create systems where success doesn't require superhuman resilience? How will you help build a world where Black women entrepreneurs succeed because of the system, not despite it? Your answer matters because the paradox of progress isn't just about Black women entrepreneurs, it's about all of us. It's about whether we're willing to create a society where opportunity truly matches innovation, where resilience is celebrated but not required, and where success is defined by how many people we lift as we climb. The stories Tiara shared aren't just inspiring, they're instructive. They show us both what's possible through individual determination and what's necessary through collective action. They challenge us to see beyond the surface of progress to create something deeper, more authentic, and more transformative. Let's not just admire the resilience. Let's create the change that makes such extraordinary resilience unnecessary. That's when we'll know we've truly progressed. Thank you